Today, let's take a deep breath together. Because if everything feels intense right now, if life feels like it's pressing on you from multiple directions at once, I want you to know that you are not delusional and you are not falling apart. Something way bigger is reorganizing underneath it all. And what I want to share with you is that today is one of the most important truths a human being can come to understand about themselves. You are healing, not in that you will heal, not in that you should heal, but rather right now, in this body and in this moment, you are healing. You see, for most of us, we've been taught to see healing as a sign of weakness, as something we do quietly, apologetically. But what if healing isn't the exception to a healthy life? What if healing is life itself? Healing is the path for every single human being. It's not just those who have suffered greatly, and not just those in Christ. It's all of us. There is no shame in healing. Quite the opposite. And when you commit to this process, you are making one of the most courageous choices available to a human being. To be actively healing means that you are actively alive, that you are choosing evolution over stagnation, of choosing truth over comfort. In nature, everything alive is in constant renewal. The caterpillar doesn't resist the dissolution inside the chrysalis. It surrenders to it. And from that surrendering, something extraordinary emerges. You are no different. You are nature. And your healing is just as natural, just as necessary, and just as magnificent. Right now, I want to take you somewhere deeper in this moment. Because we tend to think of healing in terms of this lifetime, of being this body, of being these experiences, these memories. And yes, of course, healing here is real and essential. But I believe healing is not limited to what happened to you in this life alone. We come into this life carrying energetic imprints far older than this body. Soul lifetimes, patterns that existed before you were born into this particular story. Wounds that were never completed, grief never fully expressed, and love never fully received. These ancient quiet energies show up in this life, in the fears that we often cannot explain, or in the patterns that we keep repeating, in the ache that we feel for something we often cannot name. Healing is the process of recovering all of you, not just the parts that have been lost or hidden in this life, but across the full arc of your soul's journey. When you begin to see your healing through that lens, it becomes something sacred. And healing does not always announce itself. Oftentimes it starts softly, supportively, almost like things are flowing and finally making sense again. And then everything shifts. Wounds, patterns, pain points rise up to the surface, not to overwhelm you, but to show you exactly where your energy has been leaking or misdirected. Sometimes healing is also loud and clear. You can name the wound, feel the release, and sense yourself shifting. Those moments are precious. Honor them fully. But then there are the other times when the energy of healing moves through you quietly, where you feel inexplicably tired, emotionally spacious, but unmoored, drawn to certain places or music without knowing why, or suddenly losing interest in things that really define you. This is healing too. This is your system doing deep, invisible work, like roots that extend further into the earth, and you cannot see it. But something essential is anchoring. On those days, the invitation is not to push, it's to trust. To trust the process that's already happening within you, even when you cannot see it. And then comes the shift. The moment where you see it clearly, where you feel the urge to move differently, where awareness alone begins to change your entire trajectory. And this is the kind of moment that asks something from you. It asks for courage, for honesty, and for action. And you may feel tender and powerful at the same time. That is not a contradiction. That is integration. That is what it feels like when the healing that has been happening beneath the surface finally meets your conscious awareness. So right now, I want to ask you, where in your life are you currently healing? It may be obvious, with something right up at the surface asking for your attention. If so, let it be seen. not necessarily by anyone else, but by you. Or perhaps the healing is more subtle. You sense something shifting, but yet cannot quite name it. But that is just as real. The unnamed healing is still showing up as healing. Or perhaps you've been carrying shame around. Perhaps you think that healing is not happening or necessary at all. And somewhere along the way, you received the message that this has all made you broken. And to that part of you, I want to say clearly, you are not broken. You are human. You are not failing. You are feeling. And feeling is the gateway to everything. This is the moment where discipline meets desire, where you choose what you're actually going to do about everything you've just seen. Not perfectly, not with all the answers, but honestly, but really. This is a reset. It's a reckoning and an opening all at once. Healing is not the detour. Healing is the road. It's the journey. It's the road that leads you back to yourself, to the truest version of who you are beneath all the conditioning, all the armor, all the stories that you've told yourself about who you're allowed to be. You don't have to heal perfectly. You don't have to heal quickly or immediately. You just have to be willing. Willing to heal. Willing to be honest. And willing to treat yourself with the same compassion you'd offer someone that you love. Because you deserve that. Not when you heal, but now, as you are, in this moment. You are already healing. That is already enough. So let's take another breath. Let's release that breath. And whenever you're ready, let's keep going.